This was a funny moment as well. Donald Trump defending the glories of the PRC and also the beautiful people of the People's Republic of China. I love this. I love this clip. This is one of those like Donald Trump gets real honest moments. You know, it's like the one that I always think about is when he's talking about Putin with like Bill O'Reilly or some shit, and Bill O'Reilly's like, "Well, Putin's a pretty vicious guy." And this was when he was running for president in like 2015, 2016, and he goes, "Well, we're vicious too. We're not so good ourselves." It's kind of like that, right? So one of the metas right now is that the Republicans are mad about Donald Trump apparently being much more favorable to Chinese students coming to the United States of America. Ingram, I guess, still ended up defending Donald Trump regardless, but there's the H-1B visa clip that people are very pissed off about. Let's take a look.
Like what we have right now.
And does that
the
mean,
Republicans have to talk about it, Laura.
And does that mean the H-1B visa thing will not be a big priority for your administration? Because if you want to raise wages for American workers, you can't flood the country with tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of foreign workers.
You also do have to bring in talent. When
we have plenty of talented people
here.
here.
No, you don't. No, you don't.
We don't have talent.
American workers are stupid. They're dumb. They're lazy. They're stupid. Have you seen one of these beautiful Indians, Laura? They come in here. They work tirelessly. That's right. The white American, the Caucasian, has lazy blood. Won't work. Can't do it. That's awesome. Which, by the way, you know, I don't give a shit one way or another. If these are roles that you cannot currently fill within the existing talent pool, why the f would I care if you hire the greatest talent that you possibly could from the international labor pool? I'm on board with that. People are people, okay? That's number one. Number two, if you actually want this system to not be abused, then you have to ensure wage parity and you have to protect these workers coming in from deportation. Because if you do that, then you are actually simply bringing people in with H-1B visas because they have a highly specialized labor that cannot be replicated in the domestic market. In the absence of that, which of course no Republican will ever do, for the record, obviously, but in the absence of that, yes, companies will continue abusing that structure to get more compliant employees that are fearful of deportation if they don't play ball, if they don't work long hours, right? They will never demand higher wages. They will never demand back pay. They will never make the same demands that the domestic labor force can make because they don't have that additional externality. They don't have that additional stressor. The domestic labor force is not in fear of deportation. They're simply in fear of lack of health care, which is a really it's a really good motivator in the minds of the capital owners, right? You lose your job, you lose your health care, or you can't make payments on your student loan debt. These are ways to make the domestic labor force more compliant with the exhaustive exploitative practices that capital owners implement in an effort to extract higher profit margins. But no amount of super profits is enough for our capital owners, and that's why they want more subservient laborers in these highly specialized fields in many instances, and that's how the H-1B visa is exploited.
No, you don't have certain talents, and people have to learn. You can't take people off an unemployment line and say, "I'm going to put you into a factory where we're going to make missiles," or "I'm going to put."
How did we ever do it before?
Well, I'll give you an example. In Georgia.
Yeah. There is truth to what he's saying here, for the record. There is truth to what he's saying here because there is no infrastructure to develop talent in this country. The only infrastructure to develop talent in this country still revolves around dumping $100,000 of, or saddling every single potential laborer with $100,000 in student loan debt. Okay? It's much more efficient to get a ginormous, to tap into a ginormous English-speaking labor pool with incredibly well-educated laborers waiting for the opportunity to become a part of the American labor force, okay? It's not that there aren't people who could work in these fields, for the record, in the United States of America. Of course there are, because we're talking about like highly specialized fields in that instance, yes, of course, you need to rely on the international labor pool, especially in the absence of like there being like a farm program, a farming structure, or an educational structure that is constantly creating more and more domestic laborers that could take these jobs, take these roles. They're not interested in that because that requires investment, that requires long-term commitment, that requires educating the workforce, and it would also require the abolition of student loan debt in general. You know, we are just not going to do that. We're not going to do that at all. It's just not going to happen. So it's much easier to keep the structure up. But it is funny that he has to openly state this.
They raided because they wanted illegal immigrants out. They had people from South Korea that made batteries all their lives. You know, making batteries are very complicated.
Yeah, all their lives, these guys from South Korea, they love making batteries. Laura, believe me, they love making the battery. I love batteries. I love batteries, Laura, believe me. And you know what? You know who loves batteries? South Korea. They make them.
It's not an easy thing and very dangerous. A lot of explosions, a lot of problems. They had like 500 or 600 people, early stages, to make batteries and to teach people how to do it. Well, they wanted them to get out of the country. You're going to need that, Laura. I mean, I know you and I disagree on this. You can't just say a country's coming in.
Who's they? It's your admin that did this. Like, that's the other thing. It's like, it's Stephen Miller, brother. That's your guy. Like, who is they? I'm sorry. I do not believe the American White House currently, the American federal government currently is this decentralized. Okay? I think he's just abdicating responsibility because he knows it was an incredibly stupid thing that he did. Because that was your ICE that conducted an operation in the facility, in the South Korean facility. Basically, a couple weeks after you had the South Korean leadership in the White House and you made them commit billions of dollars in IOUs to investing into, American development and American industry. And then 2 weeks later, it was such an insane thing when we covered it. Like, I couldn't believe it. It was like literally, I think it was like actually a week after Donald Trump had the Korean leadership. And then they went in and they chained these guys, right?
You invest $10 billion to build a plant and going to take people off an unemployment line who haven't worked in 5 years, and they're going to start making missiles. It doesn't work that way. There's never going to be a country like what we have right now.
Trump really sat in front of a camera and called Americans too stupid to fill jobs, and we need H-1B visa applicants to fill them. If a Democrat has said it, it would be in ads for years that Democrats hate Americans. He's talking about the 8,500 Hyundai LG factory jobs in Georgia that are seemingly not happening because Trump's a moron who deported South Korean workers in the U.S. to stand up a battery factory. 200 workers are reportedly suing ICE. Rare Trump L, brother. Why'd he say that? Yeah, what do you do in that situation if you're a Trump guy and you hear him saying that on Fox News? You go, yeah, that's right. I am stupid, my president. President Trump, you are right. I am stupid. Laura Ingraham thinks we can pull this off in 4 years. So that was the H-1B visa thing. Okay. But there is more. This part of the Laura Ingraham interview was also very funny.
You've said as many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States.
No, it's not working
Why,
either.
sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and they're...
Damn, that was fast. Another one you could try. I don't think that we're going to be able to watch these, man. As a product of the Ivies, let me tell you, Chinese students are going to stop coming while Chinese universities are going to start lopping the Western elite. Why am I talking like fuck? Why do I have an Irish accent all of a sudden? Chinese universities are going to start lapping Western elite institutions. They'll still send their fail sons to Harvard and Yale, though. Lol. Yeah, I was talking to someone here about this, actually. So for the longest time, first of all, let me dial it back real quick. Number one, Chinese people are Ameriboos, just like I am, right? They have great respect and reverence for America. Chinese foreign policy throughout history has always, gone back and forth, but usually aligned with the United States of America at times, right? And China has always looked to America as a prosperous nation, right? And there are a lot of aspects of like modern Chinese culture that is very American adjacent as well. Now, of course, they have a rich tradition, long history, Confucius principles, all that stuff. But like there is some American style attitudes especially when it comes to like commodity consumption, right? Like this is unexpected in a place like China, but or even a car-reliant infrastructure in many ways as well. I've talked about this before. And because of that, there has always been great respect for sending your children to Western institutions, specifically the American Ivies, okay? That's a huge thing in China. Being able to send your highly educated children to Harvard, especially, like the American Ivies especially, is a big deal, right? It's a sign of prestige. It's a sign that you've done the it's a status symbol. You've done the ultimate thing, right? Having said that, these last couple of years have actually, from what I understand, kind of shifted the Chinese attitude towards the Ivies a little bit. Apparently, there was like a Chinese valedictorian or something like that gave a commencement speech at Harvard, and it was actually critically panned for the first time ever. What was supposed to be a moment of great respect, you know, oh, look, a Chinese person is like speaking and delivering a commencement speech at Harvard, was apparently very critically panned by the Chinese. And part of that was because it came across as insincere, apparently. And the other reason is because the prestige of the Ivies, specifically even Harvard, the most significant one, right, is kind of going away, especially as Chinese institutes of higher learning are making waves and they are becoming more influential, more prominent institutions of higher learning in the global stage. I remember looking at the top 20 best universities around the planet, and like there is a lot of movement in the direction of China there, right? Like Chinese universities are becoming respectable institutions of higher learning, even by Western standards. Yeah, 8 out of the top 10 leading research institutions in the world are now Chinese, according to Nature.com, the 2025 Nature Index, the authoritative ranking on this. In 2020, just 5 years ago, 8 of the top 10 were Western. And now 8 of the top 10 research institutions are Chinese. Harvard is no longer in the top, the number 1 slot either. And if you look at the top 30, 19 of them are Chinese. Almost 2/3 of the top 30 research institutions in the world are Chinese. So this attitude is shifting, and it's actually a threat to these American institutions in some ways, not only because it diminishes their prestige in the global stage, and that's an important part of soft power in general, but it also is consequential because the foreign students basically prop up these colleges. They are a money faucet, okay? So when Donald Trump turns around and says, like, these colleges, if you don't, sign a loyalty pledge to Israel, we're going to cut your funding. Oh, we don't want any more international students. When he says shit like that, he has to inevitably go back and take back those considerations, take back those words, because I assume he got numerous boss calls from very wealthy alumni from all over these elite Ivy League institutions that said, dude, what the f*** are you doing? One, this is a massively consequential brain drain method that we designed for decades that you're just casting aside. You're literally getting some of the smartest individuals that are the children of some of the wealthiest individuals all around the world to come here and try to work in America and play a formative role in our public research. Like, why the f*** would you personally destroy that system? And the other reason is that that's a major amount of funding that just goes away because foreign exchange students, like foreign students, pay double the price of admission. We have diamonds in the rough that nobody ever gave a shot, man. Brother, I understand, okay? I am an advocate for free college, okay? Not just K through 12. I'm an advocate for funding our education. Having said that, this is not even fixing that at all. This doesn't touch that at all. As a matter of fact, this is the only appropriate solution that someone like Donald Trump will ever implement. Instead of actually building an infrastructure of education that taps into the existing talent pool in the United States of America, we just end up cutting off the other side of the equation for no reason. You can do both. You don't have to do the other thing. Do you understand? In any case, here's Donald Trump going back on that previous statement on Laura Ingraham.
As many as 600,000 Chinese students could come to the United States. Why, sir, is that a pro-MAGA position when so many American kids want to go to school and there are places not for them, and these universities are getting rich off Chinese money?
Never said about China, but we do have a lot of people coming in from China. We always have, China and other countries. We also have a massive system of colleges and universities. And if we were to cut that in half, which perhaps makes some people happy, you would have half the colleges in the United States go out of business.
So what?
Well, I think that's a big deal.
Are they fans
You would have the
fans of the United States?
Yeah, but you would have, as you know, historically, black colleges and universities would all be out of business. You would have a system of colleges and universities would
So
go
we're
down the
dependent
tubes.
on China to keep our university system going?
But I think it's good to have, I actually think it's good to have outside countries. Look, I want to be able to get along with the world.
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal our...
They're not the French. They're the Chinese. They spy on us. They steal from us. Remember what I told you about J.D. Vance when he said China is a backwater nation led by peasants a couple months ago? Remember when I said that will make waves in China? That did make waves in China. They were pissed about that shit. So they do actually pay close attention to the xenophobic language. They do pay close attention to like this kind of racist nonsense. And it does piss them off, for sure. They see this shit. They're not the French. They're Chinese. They steal from us. Is ridiculous, dude. It's just pure unfiltered racism. Let's see how Trump responds.
What, do you think the French are better?
Yeah.
I mean, really? I don't know. I'll tell you, I'm not so sure. We've had a lot of problems with the French, where we get taxed very unfairly on our technology, where, you know, they put 25% taxes on American products. Look, assuming everyone treats us badly, because that's the way I am, but we take in trillions of dollars from students. You know, the students pay more than double when they come in from most foreign countries. I want to see our school system thrive. But at the same time, I know you and I disagree. We're never going to agree on it, but that's okay. And it's not that I want them, but I view it as a...
I don't want them, Laura. I don't want them at all. The bullet pierced his ear, but he can still hear the voice of the party is right. By the way, I don't think a lot of Chinese people know that Donald Trump is the great nation state builder for China. I don't think they know that because I keep testing that out on unsuspecting Chinese people that I encounter around here, and they don't understand what I'm saying. Partially because they see a swagged out white boy and they just assume that I'm probably engaging in mockery and I harbor anti-Chinese sentiment, which I do not. But yeah, I don't think it's as like big of a meme on the Chinese netizen side as I thought it was. When I was a child, I remember my uncle and aunt showing off that they lived in the U.S., had good jobs, and my cousin was fluent in English. They visited us last year and their attitude is completely different. We know, but it's probably your way of approach. Probably due to translation. Try Chuan Zhangguo. They would not think you are half joking. Citrus brother, why do you do this? I'm lemon brother. They won't disclose their true feelings to you, Jersey boy. They do when they realize I'm a real one. But I've talked about this before. It's just like it. If all you have seen from people who look like me and sound like me is very negative sentiment, then you're going to assume that I'm engaging in mockery and not actual flattery. I get it. Quote more Mao, then they would know you're a real one? No. Another conversation that I had about Mao Zedong was met with shock. I talked about this book I'm reading about the history of the Red Book, like how the quotations from the chairman was compiled and the impact that it had around the globe. And this person I was talking to was like actually shocked. They're like, what? Like people actually care about Mao Zedong? What the fuck? Outside of China? Like, I was like, yeah, of course. Especially in the global south. And also Albania, which is the true champion of the global south, of course. The entry point to the global south is it runs through Albania. Yeah, Enver Hoxha mentioned. But I was they don't think that, they think that the USSR was or at least the people I've talked to have believed that the USSR was more impactful in terms of ideology and spreading ideology in general. Mao was a dictator? Yes, a dictator for the proletariat, in charge of a dictatorship of the proletariat. You're my fave persona character. Show them this photo. You are a real one.
We have millions and millions of people. Also, I want to get along with countries if possible. You know, people are shocked. Remember, Hillary Clinton said, we'll be in a war. I stopped 8 wars in the last 9 months. I don't want to be in wars. If I am in a war, we're going to win the thing fast, and it'll be violent. But you know what? I don't want to be in wars. But one thing, you don't want to cut half of the people, half of the students from all over the world that are coming into our country, destroy our entire university and college system. I don't want to do that.
I wouldn't lose any.
And don't forget, MAGA was my idea. MAGA was nobody else's idea. I know what.
He invented MAGA. I invented it, except it wasn't. It was actually Ronald Reagan.
Wants better than anybody else. And MAGA wants to see our country thrive.
Was he always this bad and we just didn't see it? I mean, I knew he wasn't going to be as conservative as I would like, but I never imagined he'd be anti-American like this. It's just so brutal, says Conservative Girl 99. Talking about the H-1B visas.
From the right, remember, Democrats believe you should get 0 benefits from your American citizenship. 0. Meanwhile, as we sit in our warm studios, and that's where I am, the president's trying to reindustrialize only the entire United States of America. That's all. And if you think Mamdani or the squad, oh, they're going to stand up for you in their workers' garb and they're going to, you know, in their shirt sleeves, get it all done. Maybe some of these mouthy new socialist primary candidates, they're going to get it done for you. Well, you haven't been listening to them. If you're a native-born American who grew up in something approaching a traditional household, they pity you at best and they loathe you at worst. So, there's always going to be disagreements on strategy and approach, and everybody should have their say. But to the more than 77 million Americans who voted for President Trump, don't flinch. No one's better at politics than he is.
Don't do it. Don't rock the boat. Come on.
And he's a pragmatist.
Yeah. Don't flinch. Jeffrey Jedediah Epstein's bestie, by the way. Yeah, Adelita Grahalva signed the discharge petition to force the release of the Epstein files going back to the American Century of Humiliation. Oh, wait, hold on. CNN is now running side-by-side clips of Trump and Biden talking about the economy. Let's take a look.
Is this a voter perception issue of the economy, or is there more?
This is my favorite, dude. Yo, I can't believe CNN is doing this. Is this the HasanAbi broadcast or is this CNN? What's happening here?
That needs to be done by Republicans on Capitol Hill or done in terms of policy?
More than anything else, it's a con job by the Democrats.
So are you saying that voters are misperceiving how they feel? Or
so when I took over, you remember?
Because you said Biden did that too, because he was saying things were great, but things weren't great.
It's synonymous, Biden and Kamala, you know, because you didn't know who the hell was campaigning.
Why are people saying they're anxious about the economy? Why are they saying that?
I don't know that they are saying. I think polls are fake. We have the greatest economy we've ever had.
Look at the Michigan survey. For 65% of American people think they're in good shape economically. They think the nation's not in good shape, but they're personally in good shape. The polling data has been wrong all along.
Oh, the fake polls. The fake polls, Jack. The polls are fake. She says Zoran isn't with the workers. Meanwhile, he's literally with the Starbucks Workers Union. Yeah. This is the type of shit I've been saying for years. And it's part of the reason why so many CNN watching liberals have developed animosity towards my commentary, because they are incapable of nuanced thinking. Unfortunately, I do actually think that they're capable of nuanced thinking. They just don't want to because it makes them feel bad. This is my bread and butter. The very fact that CNN is now using this as, or the very fact that CNN has now also established that this was a negative. This was inappropriate for Biden to say, and using that as an example for what like Trump is doing wrong is spectacular. It's not only truthful, but it's unexpected to hear the truth from CNN like this. It was bad when Brandon did it, and it's bad when Trump is doing it now. Where is it? There was something that I wanted to show you guys about someone's assessment, but I don't know if I have it. Yeah, Ezra Klein's take from, by the way, yet another unimaginably unimaginably aged poor take from Ezra Klein. He famously said, I think I should say before I start this episode where I'm on the Epstein story. If you force me to give you my best guess, I think this guy had a lot of powerful friends and that he was a predator and those sides of his life were mostly separate. Turns out, no, actually, it wasn't separate at all. Okay. You cannot separate the art from the artist in this case. Okay. It turns out it was all okay. I don't know why he even made this bold statement to begin with, but it's just like I think there's a tendency in like the liberal intelligentsia to be like, I'm actually smarter than everybody else. And because Ezra's not stupid. I don't think Ezra Klein is stupid. Okay. I say that about other people, but I don't think Ezra Klein is a stupid guy. But I think he wants to come across as more intelligent. And so whenever he sees, I think there is a tendency among liberals when they abhor populism of all sorts. So when they see anything popular, they have to literally apply a contrarian position. They have to sit there and be like, no, the masses think this, and here's why they're wrong. Sometimes the masses are right. As a matter of fact, in most circumstances, if you want to abide by the democratic principles, the masses are always right, you know? Hopefully we can educate them enough to make the right decisions, but it's just like, it's very smarmy, and I think it actually ends up creating this situation where he finds himself wrong all the time because of his endless need to be like, well, if the overwhelming majority believe this thing, then it must be wrong. AOC had a take. He said, this problem is bigger than one person. It actually is bigger than the minority leader in the Senate. A leader is a reflection of the party, and the Senate Democrats have selected their leadership to represent them. People were actually criticizing her, but I think she's right.
Okay, I'm right here.
Go ahead. After your question. Sorry. This is your first week back after 6 weeks. Just how are you feeling about the that have been missing paychecks? We have snappers.
I don't know why people got mad at her for this, saying that she's like fake and she's not like aggressively criticizing Chuck Schumer or whatever. She's right. Bernie said something similar as well. They're saying that the problem is bigger than Chuck Schumer. The problem is that this is what the establishment Democrats represent. And we have to change that. We have to change this attitude, and we have to basically forcibly rip control from these guys, these institutionalists.